Well, it's good evening from wherever you're watching us from. You're just in time for the 9 p.m. wrap live at our Orbit TV studios. I am your captain, Jesse Gitonga. Landing gears disengaged. Let's take off. You can join in the coverage through our social media platforms at Orbit TV Kenya, hashtag the 9 p.m. wrap, or you can reach out to me on my social media platforms at the Jesse Tosh. 2 men have been charged before Mombasa court with trafficking cocaine worth nearly 4 million shillings, following separate operations by detectives. Chopetta and Mohammed Jabir Ali denied the charges of conspiracy to traffic narcotic drugs and trafficking in cocaine. The prosecution told the court that Chopetta was arrested while allegedly attempting to board a flight to Dubai, while Ali was arrested at the Likoni ferry crossing. Detectives allegedly recovered cocaine worth nearly 4 million shillings during the investigation. The court ordered the suspects to remain in custody until 5th as probation officers prepare pre-bail reports.
The learned magistrate in that court stated that the 14 days for the second respondent had not lapsed due to the fact that he had been in hospital for some time, whereas the first respondent was granted a bond of 1 million, to which he did not raise. So as it is, Your Honor, we are within the law.
Lawyers in Mombasa today joined their counterparts across the country in boycotting court proceedings, accusing the sections of the judiciary of corruption, inefficiency, and delays in the delivery of justice. The advocates staged their protest outside the Mombasa Law Court, saying persistent challenges, including non-fictional registries, case tracking system failures, and delayed hearing dates, continue to undermine.
So we're discussing issues of corruption, we're discussing issues of non-functioning registries, we're discussing issues of CTS systems not working, the filing system not working, dates for a matter that was filed this year has been given for next year, January.
Kuna siku moja ambayo mtaitwa nyinyi muweze kupigania haki zenu kisawa, ili haki ya kupata huduma za koti. Lakini leo hii ni nafasi yetu kama mawakili tukuwapigania. Wakati mwingi tunawapigania kotini, lakini kuna njia tofauti za kupigana.
Our clients are the ones who are telling us the judiciary is rotten. For us, we are representing them. Wanatuambia, why do I need to go to court, to get justice, whereas maybe the accused person ama the other party is fetching money na wanapatia ma judiciary officers.
For today, we were just asking them, can you just stand with us? You are one of us, you are advocates before you became judicial officers, but unfortunately, some of them were very harsh to our advocates.
Garissa County has launched a joint national ID and voter registration drive aimed at boosting civic participation after leaders raised concern over persistently low enrollment despite the abolition of the vetting process in northeastern Kenya. The initiative will use public bazaars, school outreach, and mobile registration drives to reach eligible residents. Officials say about 300,000 ID holders are yet to register as voters, while more than 4,000 processed IDs remain uncollected at the Garissa Huduma Center. Governor Natif Jama urged residents to take advantage of the opportunity to access government services and participate in elections.
We have been given the numbers. The numbers are disturbing, that we have got about 328,000 Garissans who have ID cards but have not registered as voters. Hiyo maneno lazima ibadilike. That's why we came back out with serious recommendations. Among them, forming a dedicated secretariat between the national government and the county government dedicated for this mission. We will reach to the farthest corners of the county ili tuhakikishe kwamba kila mmoja wetu, watu wetu, will be registered as much as possible. We have set for ourselves new targets, both for ID cards and also for voter registration. Ili come 2027, we have numbers that will be very, very impressive.
According to a new survey by Tifa Research, Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna and former Interior CS Fred Matiang'i have emerged as top presidential contenders within the opposition. The latest Tifa poll indicates that while President William Ruto leads the 2027 presidential race with overall of 24%, opposition support is fragmented among key figures. Within the opposition flank, Senator Edwin Sifuna has gained significant momentum through his Linda Mwananchi movement, enjoying strong backing at 73% among grassroots and ODM supporters. Former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i follows closely as a favorite potential candidate, with survey data showing a Kalonzo Musyoka and Matiang'i pairing attracting 31% support among opposition voters. The research firm noted that no single candidate currently crosses the 50+1% threshold, highlighting a fluid political landscape as coalition building intensifies ahead of the 2027 general election. The government has announced a long-term plan to reform the public service by increasing the participation of Kenyans' Gen Z youth. Public Service Minister Geoffrey Ruku stated that the ministry is drafting a public sector reform policy to guide this process over the next 20 to 30 years. The policy is based on an assessment of the current workforce, taking into account age, skills, and staffing gaps. Ruku further noted that the reforms will focus on employment, skills development, and succession planning, with the aim of creating a youth-oriented public capable of meeting future needs.
Genization of the public service, because we want to ensure the Gen Zs, the mean age of Kenyans is about 20, 21 years. So we are a young nation, young, youthful nation. How do we go about it to ensure that we have gentrification of the public service? This will happen if we have, through the public sector transformation policy, which we are collecting data which will establish the gaps which we have within the public service.
Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe has called for stronger collaboration among government, researchers, farmers, and development partners to advance Kenya's agri-ecology agenda as the country moves deeper into implementing its national agri-ecology strategy for food transmission systems. Speaking through his representative at a recent regional agroecology conference, Kagwe emphasized that Kenya is now in the implementation phase of the National Agroecology Strategy of 2024-2033, which seeks to build sustainable, regenerative agri-foods aligned with the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda of Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. Officials say the strategy establishes a structured coordination mechanism, bringing together policymakers, farmers, researchers, development partners, and investors under a single framework. Well, let's take a short commercial break, but remember to buckle up. We'll be back with more. Welcome back. The government has appealed to development partners to strengthen collaboration in restoring Kenya's degraded forest and landscapes. Speaking during a donor roundtable on forestry restoration, Forestry Principal Secretary Gitonga Mugambi said the country is seeking support to restore 10.6 million hectares of degraded land and increase tree cover to 30% by 2032. He said the initiative will focus on arid, semi-arid and coastal ecosystems while promoting biodiversity, climate resilience and green jobs. The government also called for greater investment, technology transfer and community partnerships to drive sustainable forestry and livelihood improvement. The government has officially handed over the Japanese Sencha green tea processing factory to Kangaita tea farmers in Kirinyaga County following years of ownership disputes. Our reporter with more.
The 360 million Kenya shillings facility donated by JICE had remained idle since 2019 due to ownership disputes until Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe executed President William Ruto's directive to return the factory to local farmers.
Over 360 million Kenya shillings hapa. Na walipokuja Kenya wakauliza ni wapi ni watu gani tunapatia hii factory. It is very valuable. Na hii ni ya kutoa chai, what they are calling Japanese green tea, otherwise known as Zencha. Hii factory imepatiwa wakulima wa Kangaita. Tuko pamoja jameni? Kihoto mwanya vitina ke tuli hamwe nitwaiguana. For the benefit of those who don't speak Greek, this factory has been handed over to the farmers of Kangaita, and that is the message I was given directly.
This plant makes Kenya the only continental producer of authentic Japanese Sencha tea, positioning local farmers to access global markets where prices soar up to $10 per kg.
Africa nzima tu, we are the only ones hapa. How can we be the only people in Africa who can sell Zencha tea in Africa? Lakini hata majani ikiwa mzuri namna gani, hata tukikiwa na Kangaita tea ambayo mimi nanunua katika supermarket, nikienda nanunuaga mimi nakunywa chai hapa, hata nikiwa na hiyo chai na hakuna mtu anajua habari ya hiyo chai Ulaya, chai hatutaweza, na ni lazima tuende China to promote Kenya tea.
Cabinet Secretary Kagwe also defended the buyer-paid tea levy, revealing tea uptake has risen to 96% and reaffirming that the government will fund research and global marketing for Kenyan tea. Yvonne Waruguru, Obit TV.
The State Department for Creative Economy says it is working to close gender gaps within Kenya's arts, culture and innovation sectors as officials push for stronger partnerships between technology, gender inclusion and the creative industry. Speaking at a recent Creative Economy Forum in Nairobi, Principal Secretary for the State Department for Creative Economy, Fikirini Jacobs, said Kenya's creative sector holds significant potential for employment creation, innovation, and national transformation, particularly for women and young creatives. He noted that platforms bringing together policymakers, artists, and technology innovators are key to demonstrating how culture and digital tools can be combined to create sustainable opportunities. Hundreds of young people in Mombasa are set to benefit from a new digital innovation hub that will provide entrepreneurship training, mentorship, and startup funding to help turn business ideas into sustainable enterprises. Wanza Musembi has the details.
The Close the Gap Digital Hub, established through a partnership with Belgian and Dutch stakeholders, will offer young entrepreneurs business training, co-working spaces, technology programs, and access to global mentorship networks.
We are launching this hub as a Belgium-Kenyan initiative where we are supporting young entrepreneurs from Coast to have in this building, which is almost 2,000 square meters of working area, to help young people under one roof to actually set up their own businesses.
The hub will also support promising startups through its Impact Accelerator program, with selected entrepreneurs eligible for seed funding to help develop and commercialize their innovations.
In today's world has a huge opportunity to make a leap forward, and especially
education also is changing. I think most of you have heard about personalized learning, which is supported by AI. And the first stop where people can have access to this, because government had started programs like this, what we used to call the digital villages. They will be instrumental in helping young people to better get the material, the digital material, which would assist them in their learning process.
Partners say the facility is expected to strengthen youth entrepreneurship, encourage digital innovation, and create new employment opportunities, positioning Mombasa as a growing center for technology-driven enterprises. Wanza Musambi for Orbit TV.
Authorities in Kilifi County are developing disaster preparedness strategies ahead of the anticipated El Nino rains, as national and county agencies move to avoid a repeat to the devastating floods that hit Kenya's coast in the previous years. The Kenya warned that El Nino conditions are likely to persist to the end of 2026, with enhanced rainfall expected to fall in the country between October and December. Coastal areas including Kilifi are projected to receive near average to above average rainfall during this period, raising concerns given the country's historic flooding, including major events in 2024 that displaced thousands of livelihoods along low and riverine areas.
We are working with Red Cross, we are working with the county disaster team. I'm the provincial administration, county commissioner. I'm the chair of that committee. So we are doing everything this time not to be caught off guard. Tunaona hizo town tunaongeza sasa hata vijana au wakazi mtaani. Na huku pia tutaongeza zile areas ambazo tunajua ni shida zimejaa, maybe michanga, maji hataweza kupita ama nini.
Kenya is upgrading cardiovascular care by enhancing local screenings, providing essential medicines to grassroots clinics, and integrating cardiac services into the Social Health Authority framework to cut high treatment costs and reduce heart-related deaths nationwide. This was brought up during the 43rd Annual Scientific Congress of the Kenya Cardiac Society in Shanzu, Mombasa County. Our reporter, Mwende Wambua, has the details.
To combat Kenya's rising cardiovascular diseases, Dr. Yvette Kisaka highlighted that strengthening primary healthcare screening, updating the essential medicine list, and integrating services into the Social Healthcare Authority will improve care accessibility.
The government has made advancements in support for CVD care. All the way, our vehicle that we do use for UHC advancement is the primary healthcare. So we are really strengthening primary healthcare facilities. As you heard, or as you may know, we have community health promoters who are supporting us with screening, especially for blood pressure, blood sugar, which are the commonest risk factors for CVDs. And we have ensured we're able to also support linkage to care beyond community levels.
Kenya Cardiac Society President Dr. Mzengunga warned that uncontrolled hypertension and lifestyle factors have made heart failure the top adult cardiac condition, with cost remaining a major treatment barrier.
The biggest cardiovascular challenges facing Kenya is in the adult population is heart failure, if I can use that word. So heart failure is a disease where the heart becomes weak, people struggle to breathe, and it can be caused by many things. Amongst them is blood pressure, for example, or disease affecting the heart valves, or indeed problems that cause the arteries to block, or what we call cholesterol. So heart failure is the commonest disease in the adult population. However, we also know that we have children who have heart disease, and this is a group of cardiologists who are also in this conference. So for the children, the commonest heart disease is usually what we call congenital heart disease. It means the children are born with defects, and these have to be diagnosed very early, and they have to be treated very early before the complications arise.
Kenya's strategy for tackling the 13% death rate from cardiovascular diseases involves combining community-level screening, digital health, and local research to ensure accessible and affordable care.
What we need to do is to create data, our own data that create data about heart failure or any different types of cardiovascular disease within the country. Our epidemiology, that means the way we get sick, our diseases, how many diseases we have, is quite different from each country. So infectious diseases, the environment, or even maybe the genetics may be different. So we need to have our own data. So we have a gap there where we need to have more information from our own population.
Mwende Wambua, Orbit TV, Nairobi.
Pharmaceutical experts, regulators and manufacturers gathered in Mombasa for the 46th Annual Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya Scientific Conference, where discussions centered on scaling up local production to meet the African Union's target of manufacturing 60% of the continent's health products locally by 2040. According to the World Health Organization's Africa Regional Office, the ongoing technical support for Kenya's local manufacturing strategy, with WHO providing guidance on regulatory strengthening, quality assurance and implementing alongside pharmacists, regulators and manufacturers. Officials noted that the strategy's success will be ultimately measured not by its launch, but by its real-world impact, including expanded factory production, job creation, more accessible medicines, and more.
Through the AU, we have a vision to ensure that now Africa is able to produce 60% by the year 2040. And therefore, when you look at all these initiatives, are basically to ensure that by the year 2040, then we are actually producing about 60% of what we consume.
Well, let's take a short commercial break, but remember to buckle up. We'll be back with sports. Welcome back. Now time for some sports. Football Kenya Federation and Premier League clubs have agreed to form a 7-member transition committee to develop a roadmap towards a more independent top-flight league. The committee, to be chaired by Gor Mahia chairman Ambrose Rashia, will develop the legal and governance framework needed to reform the league while ensuring the 2026-2027 season begins as scheduled on August 22nd. FKF and club officials say the agreement marks a major step towards professionalizing Kenyan football through greater consultation, better governance, and a more autonomous league structure. Kenyan footballers continue to impress abroad as Harambee Stars defender Eric Marcelo Ouma featured in Rakow Shishwas. Very big name. 3-1 comeback victory over Valletta in the UEFA Conference League qualifiers, as the Polish side turned the match around to take a strong advantage into the return leg. Meanwhile, in Germany, Kenyan prospect Mike Nelson Afri Akumu scored FC Köln's 8th goal in an emphatic 8-0 pre-season win over Bergisch Gladbach, continuing to strengthen his case for a place in the club's senior squad ahead of the new Bundesliga season. Well, we have arrived at our destination. Hope you enjoyed the flight. I have been your one and only Captain Jesse Gitonga. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night. Oh, and don't forget. And now,